Hey YouTube, it's echobear, and today I want to review an app for you guys that's called Monument Valley 2. Now, before I get into talking about this app and why I love it, let's get through some of the serious stuff. So Monument Valley 2 was made by Us2 Games, and the first version that I can find of it being released was on May 30th, 2017. Okay, if you guys haven't watched it already, go back, search, find my original Monument Valley video, and then come watch this. I'll give you a minute. Okay, cool. You watched it? You're back? Yay, good. Because everything that I loved in that game carries over into this game. And as far as genre goes, this is pretty much an environmentally based impossible geometry type puzzle game. Also, word of warning, usually the apps that I review on this channel are free or are maybe like 99 cents. Monument Valley is actually $4.99, which is quite a bit more spendy than apps that I've reviewed in the past have been, or just in general apps that I've reviewed, like their price range. This one's a little up there. But hopefully in the next few minutes I can tell you guys why I think that that is a worthwhile price for this game. Or maybe prove it that it might not be worth it for you. Who knows? We'll see. So Monument Valley takes place in the same world as so Monument Valley 2 takes place in the same world that Monument Valley 1 did. It's pretty much this world of these decaying, decrepit, but massive, beautiful monuments that are covered in sacred, otherwise what we know as impossible geometry. It's pretty much the entire world functions within an MC Escher-esque look to it. And it is absolutely gorgeous. That's the one thing you're probably going to hear me say a lot throughout this app, is that it's absolutely beautiful and fantastic, because it is. But the world's visually, the gameplay happens within impossible geometry. Pretty much if something lines up on this plane in one direction, you can twist it, manipulate it, change it, move it to a different plane, and it will still technically work. Even though in a real world perspective it wouldn't possibly work. That's why it's impossible geometry. But within this world it does work, it does make sense. It's almost a cartoonish type of deal where it shouldn't possibly work, but it does because of the setting that it's in. Monument Valley 2 also follows in the footsteps of its predecessor of having a kind of plot, as I like to call it. It gives you enough bits and pieces of plot so that you know that something's going on, but you're missing some crucial information and some crucial backstory and exposition that would otherwise explain this to you a lot better. Monument Valley 2 follows in that footsteps, interestingly, albeit frustratingly. For me personally, it's a really interesting way to do storytelling because the person writing it knows the story behind it, but the person playing it and the people reading that don't get that, in all honesty. So it's a very fine line to find that balance, because there's a lot of speculation that gets put into it, there's a lot of confusion. If you're playing the game just for the puzzles, then I can see where it wouldn't be a big deal. It's just like, yeah, whatever, skip, get me back to the puzzles. If you're there for the plot of it, that's where it gets a little more confusing. You play as two characters this time, which follows with the trend of Monument Valley 2. There's two. And you follow through the story of a mother and daughter as they're traveling through the same type of world that you did with Ida in the first game. So as you continue on, you follow the story, and it's kind of a coming of age story for the daughter. You get to play as well as the mother, actually. But you play as those two, you get through, you get your snippets of plot here and there, and then you get to this really heart-wrenching scene that actually did make me cry when I played it, where the mom has to send the daughter off so she can go, grow up and figure stuff out on her own, as it's pointed out is kind of customary within this culture within the game. So you continue on through the game and play only as the mother, which is kind of heart-wrenching in a way that you don't get to see the daughter anymore. until you get to the end of the mother's storyline. Then the menu where you do the level select rotates backwards, and you get to play from the daughter's perspective this time and get to see her grow up and see her journey as well. And the game, spoiler alert I guess, since I've finished the game, ends with the two of them figuring out stuff together as equals rather than a daughter following a mother around. So honestly, for the plot alone, it's iffy to me a little bit because it does rely so heavily on that like kind of narrative storytelling where it gives you some bits of it but not all of it. Now we get into the fun stuff, the gameplay of the game. So pretty much this game is very simple. You tap on any area of the puzzle that you want to move to. If it's possible for you to get there, your character or characters will walk towards it, walk to that area, push that button, do all of that. It's very simple. You just tap, things happen. Very, very simplistic control scheme. It gets more complicated as you go along because you have to add in all of these pulleys and rotating things, and you have to slide things up and down and rotate and spin and use all of these different things. But the control scheme of it remains very simple. So for Monument Valley 2, as of this review, there hasn't been any DLC for it as there was for the original Monument Valley, but fingers crossed that that's a thing in the future. But as of this review, there isn't any, and this game was a little bit of a letdown in the fact that it was slightly easier than the original Monument Valley. For the first one, I had to look up a lot of stuff. I got stuck a lot more and it was a lot more difficult as I went on. I don't know if that's just the fact that I've gotten better at it from playing Monument Valley over and over and over since it came out, or just that I've gotten better at these games in general, or it's easier this time. I'm definitely not sure what that is, so I'm not going to count it against it. But if you do want a semi-easier one, I would say start with the original so you do learn those skills, because I'm definitely leaning heavier towards it's because I'm used to all of the control schemes and how the puzzles work and etc, etc. But the length of the game is absolutely perfect. It doesn't drag on, it doesn't kind of just give you pointless things for the sake of it being pointless. It plays off of the original so well, and it also adds in new mechanics and new things and more interesting fun things that make you use the same kind of techniques that you used in the first one but in different ways. So it's a brilliant successor to the original Monument Valley. And now we get to talk about my favorite thing about this whole game is the visuals. The visuals of this game are just the most absolutely stunning things that I've ever seen. Like, Monument Valley, when it originally came out, was renowned all over the place for it being a visually stunning app, like one of the most beautiful apps on the App Store. And Monument Valley 2 continues that. It is so absolutely fantastic. Every single screen, puzzle, everything you see could be used as a wallpaper or be hung up as a wall hanging. Eventually, when I can afford it, I want to get a print from the game. Like, this is how much I absolutely adore the visuals from this game. So visually, it's stunning, it's beautiful, it's even more impressive than the original because it adds in these little things like water effects and little animals that are running around and particle effects and light effects and just all of these different things that change it into being something even more beautiful than the first one. Now, don't get me wrong, the first one is still stunningly beautiful, but this one just takes it up another notch that is just so impressive to me. And audio-wise, it's very similar to the first one where moving things within the environment cause noises to be made, sounds to change, like hearing different chords on different instruments being played as you move things, having just a kind of gentle ambiance or soundtrack happening in the background that fits perfectly with it. And this one also adds into the thing where you see flashbacks of the mother, or have the mother like hanging around in another area. She actually has a flute that she'll play, and you get to see her like play that and hear it, and it just adds to the level of immersion that you're feeling, and it's so ridiculously fantastic that I couldn't ask for more from that. So I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by this one, but this one I genuinely have to give a 10 out of 10. No fudging, no nothing. I highly recommend that you go play the Monument Valley series. Yes, it does cost money, but it is 100% worth every penny. If this game were on Steam for the exact same price, I would 100% buy it. I've seen a lot of other games of the same scale and size on Steam that are priced a little higher, but overall aren't that long and aren't that good. Monument Valley is a shorter game, which may deter some people from paying that $4.99 price tag, but in all genuine honesty, I think it's worth it. So thank you guys for listening to me ramble. If you guys want to try out the Monument Valley games, I will leave links in the description for the first and second ones. Make sure to stick to this very end of this video to see other stuff that I've done, and I hope you all have a lovely day. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below, forgot that one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!